Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump, and today I'll be talking about my favorite track from the base game of Super Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, as of when this video is going to be released, it'll be a few weeks before both the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World is released, and I thought, why not make a video talking about about the previous Mario Kart game, that being Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and talk about some of my favorite tracks from each cup from the base game of Deluxe. And I did make another video, I think ages ago, talking about my favorite tracks from the DLC that we got for Deluxe a few months ago. I'll probably put a link in the description below so you can watch that video once you've watched this video. And yeah, similar to that video, I'll be going through each of the cups and talking about a particular track that I found to be interesting, whether that's the course itself or how it's used the anti-gravity to its advantage, that sort of thing. So yeah. So to start off with, the Mushroom Cup is Mario Kart Stadium. Now with this cup, or this track, I think it's a good opener to the game as a whole, because it's basically this huge stadium, as you can see by the name of the title and of the gameplay. And what I like about it is that it uses both is regular race track, but also uses the glider and the anti-gravity mechanics. So like around halfway on the track, you can go into anti-gravity mode, and that's really cool. And it shows you how it's done, because there's like this big blue strip on the ground, and then you see your kart turning into anti-gravity mode, and then I think it's a good introduction to anti-gravity in terms of how it's done and how it can be used and stuff like that. And I do like how towards the end you've got that one of the big final turns before the end, and it's like on the side, like it's like in the air but on the side, and that's really cool, and it really shows how much anti-gravity is going to be used within the game. And yeah, I think as a starting track for the starting cup, it's a really cool thing to do. So yeah, for the Flower Cup is Mario Circuit. Now, what I find interesting about the circuit, or about the track, is that it's how it's using both, again, anti-gravity and the normal sort of racetrack, because the track as a whole is in a figure of 8 or a Mobius strip, which is kind of cool, because what it does is basically you go on the top side first, and then you go on the bottom around halfway, and that's when you use anti-gravity. And that's kind of similar to Mario Kart Stadium, how it uses anti-gravity around halfway through the stage. And as I said before, the whole stage is in a figure of 8 or a Mobius strip, because it's because of the way that the track is done, because it's so cool. And there'll obviously be gameplay of what I mean about this. I think with the gameplay, it'll definitely help prove my point. And the whole track as a whole is just really cool in terms of like how it's done, and how you can like just pass players or see players on particular parts of the track. So yeah, that's really, really cool. So yeah, for the Star Cup is Mount Wario. Now this is one of the few tracks in this video that I'll be talking about that has one main lap, but they are separated into 3 separate laps. And what I like about Mount Wario is that it's basically, you start off on a plane, then you end up at the bottom of the mountain. And that's a really cool, interesting way to do a stage and to do a track, because it kind of like feels kind of like chaotic, I would say. And a lot of the other tracks can be chaotic as well. But when you look at Mount Wario, and it being just one big lap separated into 3 separate laps, I do like how it can be quite chaotic when you try and get particular items like a green shell, a blue shell, a blooper, or any of the other items, and you can use them like at the very start of the stage, around the halfway stage when you go past the trees, stuff like that. And yeah, it's just one of those stages that can be really, really chaotic if you play your cards right, and it's just really cool. And I do like how the end of the track is just a mad sprint to the finish. It's one of those tracks that's just real mad, real fast paced, and really, really cool. And yeah, I think it's one of those stages that fits really, really well into the game. So yeah. For the Special Cup is Bowser's Castle. Now, this track I think is a really cool look at a Bowser's Castle in the game, because you start off outside of the castle, and then before the match starts, you can see the gate open, and then you go through like the main part, and then you have to avoid some fireballs, some giant spiked balls, and at the start of the stage, you'll see these Bowser statues. Now, on the first lap, they won't do anything, but from the second lap onwards, they will fire laser beams, and that's really cool because it adds a lot of uh, strategy to the way that you race, because you can try and either bump another racer into them, or try and use a particular item to make them not only go over the item but also take damage from the lasers. And also around the halfway stage, when the anti-gravity is activated, you can see this giant sort of Bowser statue, and it's punching both sides of the stage, because there's a split off function where both ends go pretty much the same way, but sort of like, but they're two separate ways. And the statue of Bowser will first of all punch one side of the stage, or yeah, one part of the stage, and then the other stage he'll punch the other one. And it's really, and you have to really think on whether to commit to one particular part of the stage or go to the other. And if you get hit by the Bowser statue, you will slow down, and you will get squished for a few seconds, and then you have to avoid all of the lava from the end of the stage, as well as the giant balls, or the giant rock balls from that fall down from the last part of the stage. So yeah. For the Shell Cup is Toad's Turnpike. Now, with this cup, or this track, what I like about it is that it's the layout is similar to Mario Circuit, in that Toad's Turnpike is one massive 8, or figure of 8. But unlike Mario Circuit, doesn't also become a the layout's different, in that with Mario Circuit, not only can you be on like the invert of the track, so like kind of like similar to like as I was talking about with that one, where it's like an 8, but also a Mobius strip where you can go upside down and stuff like that. With Toad's Turnpike, it's just you're on this sort of like freeway sort of track, and you've got like traffic going like backwards and forwards, like traffic coming towards you and traffic going away from you. And it's one of those tracks where you have to be very careful in terms of how you might try and move around the track and try and avoid the different vehicles, like the buses, the cars, that sort of thing. And I do like how there's some vehicles that you can use the glider on, and you can also do tricks off some of the buses and stuff like that. And there is some anti-gravity, but it's only used twice, and that's mainly around about the start of the beginning of the track and towards the end. So they're very close to each other. So like you got like these walls, and then you can use anti-gravity on top of them, so that you can go along the walls. And that's I think a really cool feature. And yeah, I think it's one of those things where, again, you will have to try and think how to maneuver not only around the track, but also how to push your opponents into the vehicle. So yeah. For the Banana Cup is DK Jungle. Now, what I like about this stage is that it's a really fun stage, and it takes place in Donkey Kong's jungle, as the title of the track is being told. And I think it's a really fun stage. I do like how around the halfway stage you can use the anti-gravity to go around some parts of the stage, and I do like how you have to use some of like the things to your advantage, so, like try and like going across like the halfway stage, because around the halfway stage there's like these small platforms or these platform areas that you can go across, but you can either go across them or take the glider and try and glide over them, or try and glide over one of them and then use the other two platforms to get a bit of a boost. And yeah, I think it's one of those stages that you have to try and be really like think about how to do how to progress and try and beat all the other players. So yeah, and I think it's a really cool stage and it's really fun. For the Leaf Cup is Yoshi's Valley. Now this is probably, I would say, the most chaotic track in Mario Kart history, because this track is very confusing because it has a bunch of different points that you can go to, or different parts or different tracks that kind of like go in different directions, and there is a specific way you can go that can make you go into first place, and I will be showing you several combinations of how the track is done in terms of how you can go across the stage. It's one of those tracks that kind of lets you have a bit of freedom in terms of how you go through the track, but there is a specific way that allows you to go into first place. And yeah, it's one of those tracks that's really chaotic, and you can use that chaos to your advantage. Similar to how Mount Wario is, in the sense that with that stage, because it's one big lap and and you have to like go to each of the checkpoints at specific parts of the map, you can mess up a particular person in front of you or behind you, so that they can lose how many of the places that they're in. And it's similar with Yoshi's Valley in terms of that you can mess up a particular person or particular player, and you can also use the giant Yoshi egg to your advantage towards the end, because there's like this giant sort of area or arena sort of thing, and then there's like this giant Yoshi egg just circling around it, and you can use it to your advantage in the sense that you can use, like, let's say, a green shell, use it on the person behind you, let's say, they get hit by the green shell, and then they might get hit by the Yoshi shell or the Yoshi egg later on. So yeah, it's a really cool stage, and it's really chaotic. So yeah. For the Lightning Cup is the Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 64. Now, this is a stage similar to the Mount Wario stage, in that it's one giant lap. It's one giant lap, but it has three smaller laps. And this is probably one of my favorite versions of Rainbow Road. I think it's a really cool way of doing the stage, and I just really like how it's used, and I do like how the anti-gravity is used in the stage, and it's really cool because like there's a lot of tight turns, there's a lot of things to do to avoid. Like there's like these two giant chain chomps that you have to avoid, and they basically just jump up and down, and they create a bit of a shockwave, a bit where part of the stage kind of dips up and down, and you have to try and not only avoid the chain chomps, but also avoid other players that might try and push you off the stage or use a particular item on you. And you can also trick off the bumps as well, which is really cool. And yeah, it's just one of those stages I think, I would say the Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 64 is probably the best, or one of the best Rainbow Roads that we've had in the Mario Kart series. And yeah, it's a really fun stage to just do a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of really cool turns, and just try and be a bit chaotic as well. So yeah, for the Egg Cup, it's the Excite Bike Arena. Now this stage feels like a Mario Kart stage, and I think it was even its own game. I think it was before it was in Mario Kart. It was its own game, and I think it's based on Excite Bike. I think there was a Nintendo game called Excite Bike or something. I could be wrong. I'll try and find an image of it and put it on screen. And yeah, this what makes this stage really unique is that with every race that you do, the arena or the stage, the track that you play on, changes. So one part or one time you might be going up a ramp. The other time you might be have to try and go across mud or stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of like I know it's not similar, but it's kind of like the Animal Crossing track that's in the Animal Crossing Cup, where with that track, that changes seasons. And there are some differences with the different seasons, like there's the summer, well, the summer, spring, winter, autumn ones, and it kind of reminds me of that, but with the Excite Bike Arena, where the entire track just changes layout every time, and that's a really really cool feature. And I do hope we get to see more tracks like that in World. So yeah, for the Triforce Cup is Hyrule Circuit. Now this stage is probably out of the themed or the third party or the other character themed cups that we have. It's probably my favorite one because it's based on Hyrule Castle from The Legend of Zelda, which is one of my favorite franchises. And what I like about Hyrule Circuit is that you kind of start off in sort of like the grounds or like a sort of like the Mario Kart's version of Hyrule Field, but on a track. And then around halfway through the stage, you're in Hyrule Castle itself. And what I like about that part is that that you have to hit these three crystal gem things that's on the track, and not only do they give you a bit of a speed boost, but if you hit all of them at the same time, they create this little ramp thing that can make you go through the Master Sword, and that's a really really cool feature. And I do like how all of the enemies or all of the obstacles that are in your way are based on Legend of Zelda enemies. So you've got the Deku Barbers and you've got the keys. They're the only obstacles that you have in that particular track, and I think it's really cool. And I do like how in the track as a whole, all the coins that you collect are replaced by rupees, and whenever you do collect an item, it does the Legend of Zelda theme. And yeah, it's such a really, really cool feature, and this track just fits really well into the game as a whole. And I do hope that we get to see some other out of Mario universe characters and tracks that we get to see in a potential Mario Kart World DLC or something, maybe if the game does get DLC or something like that. So yeah, for the Crossing Cup is the Animal Crossing track. Now, this track, I've talked about it a bit before when it came to the Excite Bike track point. And with this one, I really do like how it changes seasons depending on whenever you're in the track. And yeah, so for example, in one, let's say you're playing the game for the first time, it will be, let's say, autumn. Then for the next time you're playing the track, it could be winter or summer or spring or whatever it chooses to be. And I do like how it changes. So like, for example, if it's the winter version, you'll see like a whole bunch of snow on the track, and you can see like some snowmen here and there. And if it's like summer, it'll be all like summery and stuff like that. And autumn, all the leaves will be sort of golden brown, that sort of thing. And it's a really, really cool attention to detail when it comes to like Animal Crossing as a whole. And I think similar to Hyrule Circuit in the Triforce Cup, I think the Animal Crossing track, I think, does a really good job of encapsulating Animal Crossing. So yeah, and also similar to Hyrule Circuit, the coins are now bells, and the thing and the items music is that of Animal Crossing, I believe. So yeah, and for the Bell Cup is the Super Bell Subway. Now, this track takes place entirely in a train station, and this is probably one of the weirder um, tracks in the game because it takes place entirely in a train station, and you don't because like you start off like in on the main platform, and then you get to go down into into the train tracks themselves, and you see a bunch of the trains, or some trains just going from like one going towards you, one going away from you, and you have to really, again, and it's one of those tracks that you have to really think about how to like use the trains to your advantage. So like use like a green shell to hit one of your opponents, then they get hit by the shell and then get hit by the train, or use the train or the top of the trains to flip off, or like jump off and then get a bit of a boost and then get like first place or something like that. And yeah, I think it's a really one of those weirdest stages in the sense that it's fun, and I think you can try and like do your best in terms of like how to use the trains and the entire track as a whole to your advantage. So yeah, so that's been me talking about my favorite track from every main cup in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.